So because of some just clerical issues, miscommunications, this was not advertised as a public meeting. So today, what we're going to do, we're still here to meet. We're not going to be given any advisory. What we are going to do is formally open up the RFPs, hand them out, and answer any questions. I mean, right then, we're going to talk about what we're going to do the next meeting. And when y'all would be able to get back together again. So like, if we could get back together even Wednesday afternoon, I can get it out as a PSA and be legal for a decision to go to committee. So that'll be how we're handling today. As you know, we all see a certain percent of our salaries go to ODOT for transportation costs. You are reviewing these grants as they are the subrecipients to the county for those monies. So money comes from ODOT to the counties. The counties are called the qualified entities. And then we disperse them to the subrecipients. Big places like Portland and some even smaller places like John Day have transportation districts or transit districts. We do not in Baker County. We had talked about doing a study for one last biennium. The commission decided that they wanted to continue being the ones handling the money and not give it to someone else to handle because it is a significant amount. So that's why we're still the qualified entity and not a transportation district, like a weed district or a road district or something like that. Okay, any questions? Not so far. You're going to be looking at two different, oh, here, I forgot we had Christina and Heidi.
Was this it?
Yep.
Okay.
Today we're going to open up the RFPs for federal funds, which is the FTA 5310 funds. Those are solely for disabled and senior services. And for STIF, statewide transportation improvement funds. Those are the 1% or whatever that comes out of your paycheck. So we're going to open those right now, or open up for the RFPs right now. And no questions so far. Okay, let's do this thing. We've had 2 responders with proposals that would have been, they both came in on time. Community Connections and Elkhorn Taxi. Shut this one, sure. It's embarrassing.
Just opening.
Yeah, we're just opening, and
You guys talked about scheduling.
I mentioned it. We'll talk about that more in just a second. Good. All right, first ones I've opened up are from Elkhorn Taxi. And I think the same. So I'm just gonna have to do this. What? So they only
Are you
did.
sure? Go ahead and give Ricardo, and I'll share.
Yeah, and I'll make you another cup. I'll make you another copy. Oh, no, here. I'll give this copy to you and I'll make me a copy.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
And go look at yours real quick, so I'm not sure what happened here. Okay, so what you're gonna be looking for as we go through these, or as you go through these, are gonna be the projects. You're not gonna have to worry about their other aspects. Know them, read through them. But as far as their business standards and whatnot. Okay, this is CCNO. And this first one is the STIF funds, and I need to see, figure out how to get this off, and I'm not going to.
Yep.
Do you have enough?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just, maybe you could get my, what's it there off of there, because I'll need the, there, yeah. If you could get that off for me, that would be a lot of help. And then you can have the packet, but I need the memory stick.
No.
Thank you. Okay, since you're practiced, you can.
Yeah.
They're all the same. Last one's marked original, and these are marked copies. Thank you. All right. I'll make these copies. So the one you should, in front of you, have a Community Connections FTA 5310 and an STIF. And a Elkhorn taxi, and I'm not sure how they had those broke out. Okay, so like I said, we're looking at projects. Be considerate when you're thinking about the costs. Everybody got my email, so you can read what the eligible projects are. Match requirements for STIF, there are none. Because you're looking at a nonprofit entity, Community Connections, and a for-profit entity, Elkhorn Taxi, we can't overlap services. So that means if Community Connections is running a certain service or running senior and disabled people from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, that means the taxi cannot do that. They can run from 5 o'clock at night until 8 the next morning or whatever. So they can pick up the slack that for when Community Connections is not open. Same is true with projects. When you see this, hopefully you'll see a project that says workforce on demand. That is a specific project that is not offered by CCNO, but could be offered by Elkhorn Taxi. What it does is picks people up at their home, takes them to work, picks them up at night, and takes them home. And that's it. There's no stopping in between or anything like that. You're gonna notice things like rural routes. Be cognizant of where those are and the times. Speak to folks if you want to and find out if those are working for people. I think they are. I see a lot of riders. Rick's gonna know about the veterans and what we can do to help them a little better, I hope.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a
Okay.
big need.
Okay, and we can either, if it's not part of the project here, we can talk about maybe getting something like that implemented. This year, we do have a lot of carryover funds from the last biennium, because like I said, we had money allocated for projects like the study for the transit district that didn't happen. So I put those on a to be used funds, later reserve is what they call them. And we can talk about that. So as long as we're not duplicating services between the nonprofit and the for-profit, we're going to be awesome. We used to, or this biennium, have been given funds to step forward as a client only through the STF, Statewide Transportation Fund. That program was absorbed into the STIF, so it's no longer a standalone process. We did not receive a packet from them. You saw that you saw who we received the packets from. And they are client only. We could still fund them should you decide to do so. The STIF funds are done in two separate categories, a population-based and then a general-based. It's one of the only times I really feel fortunate we have places like Portland, because it really boosts up our general funds. Population-based are fairly low and based just on Baker County. And that would be, should you decide to continue with that program, that would be where those funds would come from.
Donnie, I don't know about the rest of them, but I'm already lost because this is the first time that I've done this. And
Right.
Obviously, there are some huge packets here that need some regurgitation, I guess, from my perspective.
Absolutely.
And so understanding the process, what are the services that are actually being offered in the community as it stands right now?
As
That
it-
would be a starting point for
Okay,
me.
absolutely. As it stands right now, Community Connections provides, you see the trolley that goes around
Yeah.
town, that's a fixed route trolley, they provide that.
Okay.
They do a on-demand, so someone can call them up and say, I have a doctor's appointment at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Come rescue me. So it's an on-demand service or that type. They do a rural route. So certain days of the week, they go to Halfway, to Huntington, to Haynes, to Sumter, and bring people either back into Baker to catch another ride or whatnot. They do daily from Baker to LeGrand twice a day. And they do that for people that have worked, yeah, either way. They do the senior and disabled, so they can pick people up in an ADA compliant vehicle and take them to and from non-emergency services. And that's mental health, physical health, anything like that. They can also take them to out-of-town appointments for that. Walla Walla, Boise, places like that.
So are the RFPs to you, based on your knowledge, are they consistent with what the programs that are already being offered? Or is there
Yes.
some desire to absorb some of the other services that are provided by one of the, because Community Connections already exists and the taxi service already exists. So are there any desires for the taxi service to take on more of the services?
I assume that you are going to see something like that. Currently, the taxi has two projects with us. One is through STIF, and that is called Workforce on Demand. And that is simply to and from your workplace of employment. That's it, cut and dry. And then they do the after hours non-emergency services. So if someone gets taken by the ambulance to the emergency room and they're released that night, they can call the taxi and the taxi can pick them up and take them home for free.
So what are the hours that Community Connection is actually providing services?
I think it's from 7 till 5 right now. They change it around. We can verify that, absolutely. And so one of the questions I would ask this group, is that something you want to do, is to expand their hours? Because I haven't seen these, so I don't know.
No, but this
It
gives
is
me an
very,
idea.
very possible that they ask for an expansion of hours. And you can say, yeah, that's great, or you can say, no, we want you to do from 8 till 5, Monday through Friday, and taxi will pick up those seniors and disabled after that. So you have that kind of latitude here. Or you can say, yeah, this expanded hours sounds great. Let's let you expand that, and then we'll have the taxi do it from whatever those expanded hours are. Keep in mind ridership. I know we all see the trolley come around, and a lot of times it's empty because that is a fixed route. You never know when or where people are going to get on and off. So that's something we definitely need is, just because we see it go by here, empty doesn't mean 30 people didn't just get off at the school or something.
Is there a way to
Students,
know what the highest ridership is?
for that,
Yes,
we can sure pull records.
because
for
that would be interesting for me, just because I'm going, okay, yeah, most of the time I see an empty trolley. So
Mhm.
what is the highest, point of participation?
Okay.
Is
we
that 10
sure-
people? Is it 20 people?
And
Is
do you
it-
want that on a by day or by, how do you want
No,
that?
I want to
being?
know at any time, what is their highest ridership? Or when was it? I mean, because again,
As part of the STIF funds, they are mandated to have a student ridership program. They do. And it seems to be increasing,
that's
and
the
that is
9th to 12th grade.
for high school
9th to
students,
12th grade.
9 through 12.
Yeah, I saw that. in
So
there.
you're gonna see that in these packets too. You may see administrative costs for either or both entities. And you'll need to decide, do you want to fund those 100% or just a partial percent and let another grant pick up the difference? I mean, you all work with grants. We know how this works. Do you want to do that for just nonprofit or for both of them? So I think you'll see administrative there. You may see things like maintenance. I want X amount of dollars for maintenance. Is it a legitimate number? But that's something you guys need to determine. And
is-
because I haven't seen that before, I honestly don't know what that is. It's usually kind of wedged in there. It's just part of the conversation, just part of the project.
Is there a specific amount that we're dealing with, or is it sky's the limit?
Oh, no,
I have the
there's,
same question.
no, there is a,
What's our budget.
There is a specific amount. I'll have those numbers for you.
Yeah, because
As
it's like,
the-
we could offer them the moon, but if there's no money there,
Yeah,
why
There's,
can't
there's,
do that?
there's gonna be money there. Not for the moon.
Not for the moon.
Not for the moon.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But I will have those actual honest numbers. I'll get those to you probably later this morning.
For example, like Elkhorn, a taxi, I don't think they have a van.
They do not.
They do not yet. And of course, a lot of our veterans, many of them are handicapped, they're in wheelchairs and they need transportation. So Elkhorn, yes, is good in town here, local services, but long distances, I think community connections, of course, so they're better equipped. And I don't know if there's money there for the funding of a vehicle for Elkhorn as an example.
There is.
Oh, very good.
There is money for that. Because of the procurement process, buying those vehicles can only be through certain vendors
Mhm.
and they're way out there in time. So Community Connections and Elkhorn Taxi had an agreement the last biennium where Elkhorn Taxi actually used the Community Connections ADA van when Community Connection was not using it. So good partnership there.
Very good.
It is.
And of course, also volunteer drivers, my understanding, they get paid based on just the mileage, if they were being paid for, let's say Boise and back, however, how many miles it was, I think like 65 cents a mile. That's what they get paid. But they're always, one reason or another, they're always, okay, Rick, we don't have a driver available.
Oh, Community
Yeah,
Connections,
yeah.
okay.
We have a vehicle, but not a driver, or maybe the vehicle's down, but yeah, they're always looking for volunteers. Sign up.
And I was under the impression those were actually paid positions because we've heard complaints in the past that they couldn't get
Right,
employees.
yeah, no, I just had a veteran that signed up, and he gets paid based on the miles he travels.
Do you have to have a CDL in order to do that, or
I think for some of them you do, yes.
or
And as
a
part of this-
chauffeur's license or something
Or
of that
something, yeah,
nature?
there's requirements, especially with the federal funds. Federal funds are quite strict. Well, those of us that dealt with federal funds know that. It is quite strict. So part of the RFP this time, when I put it out, and this is the first time we've had to put out an RFP for transportation services, requires them to provide information on stuff like vehicle maintenance, alcohol and drug tests, passing ODOT safety courses, just safe driving courses, civil rights, ADA compliance rights. And those are all the lists that they have to provide to me this time before we sign the contracts. We didn't have that in the past. Hopefully that has solved some of Rick's problems with them not having a vehicle. I know a vehicle went down last summer, in fact, and caused all sorts of hate and discontent. And I got some really nasty calls from the hospital. And they said, well, we can't get it in to be repaired. Well, this is after, a month and a half. And I had a mechanic on the phone saying, get it down here now, I'll have it out this afternoon. So
Is the DVA van, is that something that comes under your,
Not at all. That's a resource that's provided by the Boise VA, managed by Bob Warren. And of course, he's already 92 plus years, and he's,
oh, geez.
because I left him a message and I never heard back from him. And also talking with other veterans, that seems to be, I want to say a complaint, yeah, he needs to pass on that duty to somebody else. For sure. So essentially, I've been here a little bit over 8 years, and probably twice in those 8 years that I used DAV. Otherwise, I use community connections.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very reliable.
And I have heard from the community that there are a certain contingency of veterans that don't like riding the buses because there's other people there on them. Is that a fact or no?
Well, that's correct. Going back to DAV though, okay, you need if it works out and you coordinate, transportation, you gotta show up around 6:30 or 6 at the parking lot at VFW to catch a ride. Also, the other restriction is they can only go from here going east on I-84. They cannot go like towards La Grande. Only going from here, going east.
Okay,
So that's of course. On the other hand, community connections, they go everywhere.
mhm.
And they pick you up at home. bring you
Can I
back.
ask, why could they only go east and not LeGrand? If LeGrand makes more sense.
Yes, I know, of course, I don't know that particulars on that, but that is a fact that they only go from here east.
Is that because they just don't have the demand to go west maybe? Or
It's,
because there's no
yeah.
veterans home or veterans medical. Is there in LeGrand? There used to be.
There's a
I think-
VA clinic, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
which is a satellite of the Walla Walla VA. But this resource comes from Boise, this vehicle. And essentially, there's the restrictions,
Okay,
yeah.
And hopefully we'll be offered more veterans funding, a grant application for veterans only funding later on in this year. I haven't heard if that'll happen. If it does, we could, if we have stuff like this available, we can sure as a qualified entity go out and solicit those funds to bring in and get on board with. Absolutely.
Nice, yeah.
Okay, and I'd heard there was a concern about the fact that veterans prefer to ride in a more open transportation unit as opposed to a van. Is that because I spent, the last 8 years in Ontario, and I know that Sprinter Shuttle Services has caravans, and they transport wheelchair individuals all the time. In fact, I had a brother that was mentally and physically handicapped, and we used him out of Weezer. They would come and pick him up. So I know that van service can be accommodated to facilitate, but if you're transporting multiple individuals, obviously it doesn't work. It's a one, size for one individual to transport them.
Of course, and you're right. I mean, if you can take 2-3 people, especially, okay, I got an appointment at the Caldwell VA and I got an appointment at the Boise VA. Okay, well, we're gonna drop you off in Caldwell. Stand by, we're gonna come back in about 3-4 hours to pick you up. Once you're finished, we'll be right here. So trying to do, provide transportation to, multiple folks that need transportation instead of just one person at a time. That's a long ways,
And that's one thing you need to look at on these. Can we get more than one person? Can we get multiple people in the vehicle going the same place? So that's another thing we'll take into consideration. Absolutely.
So does that happen quite frequently as far as multiple individuals riding
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, so Tara, Community Connection, she's in charge of transportation. She's a coordinator, and yeah, she tries to utilize her resources as much as she can. When she can double up, she will. But yeah, we have nothing to do with the transportation. Tara is the coordinator.
Absolutely, she
It's
is.
their resource, yeah.
And I assume in your packet, you're going to see a request for funding for her position. So expect that. Megan, you're waving over there.
Well, there's like pages that are
Nothing's on them?
Yeah, just like ends, and then I don't know where.
Okay. And like I said, I haven't seen,
Okay.
we just opened these up, so I
Yeah.
have no idea what you guys have.
Okay,
Is
is that a?
that's gonna be, so when you're making notes about things, say, hey, this wasn't supplied as part of the RFP.
Okay,
And we can rank them absolutely as such, and there is a ranking sheet we'll use
okay.
with points,
Okay,
with points.
okay.
Um. Somewhat disappointing. How long do you need to get these read through? Could we come back together Wednesday afternoon and get a ranked review for the commissioners?
So are you gonna give us a guideline on how you want them ranked, or are you just gonna let
No.
everybody do their own ranking?
Well, the kind of, and I'll send out what we used before,
Okay,
but because I haven't seen the projects,
yeah. it's tough to-
before I would send to you would be a summary of the project. And then one to, how big you would rank it, and then how it would average out at the end. And obviously I can't with this project because I don't know what's in your packets, no clue at all, but this afternoon I'll print all these off and we'll get a summary sheet out to you. So at least I'll summarize the projects and rank them, so when you're reading the projects, please make sure you're looking for the details. I'm providing 1,000 rides at $10 a ride to and from the emergency room from 8 to 3 or whatever. Try not to be glossed over by, we have 47 buses and 3 vans and 2 tricycles, and we can carry anyone. We need to see the details of the projects. What are you doing for your money?
And so since you are just now, actually you haven't even seen them. We don't know yet if we have, let's say we've got $100 total budget. We don't know if we have $100 request between both of them
That's
or
right.
not.
That's right.
So we really need to know what kind of budget we have to
Mhm,
work
and
with. So
that'll
when
come
we
out.
read through, we can.
With the summary, because that way I know what their numbers are too.
Yeah, okay.
Is it not customary to have the individuals actually present their RFPs?
So, this is the first time we've had to do RFPs in Baker County. Up until now, the TAC would have met and they would have decided on the projects. They would have been immediately put through the commission and we would have been over with this months ago. But this year they decided to do this RFP process during our decision process meeting in December. I mean, that's how close it cut.
Huh.
So generally, yeah, we would have been able to, we would have had this done by now and we would have been off doing our thing. But this RFP is a new process. And part of that is because of the taxi. I guess ultimately what we're here for is to provide the best services to the community. However it takes to get it there for the best services in the community. We really have become pretty strict on reporting requirements. They've been really lax in the past. We've really cranked down on those. So certain things do have to be presented now.
Mhm.
Before it was divided into like 8 quarters equally. And we can't do that now. We have Title II, and if you spend $5.10, I need to see that receipt that says you spent $5.10 on what you spent it on. And unfortunately, that is how it is now. And I'm more than happy, like I said, to get these. I'll take a look at the summary sheets, and at our next meeting, if you do want a representative from Community Connections and Elkhorn Taxi, you can sure have them here so you can ask them questions.
I think that would be for me. I would like to see that.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely, we can do that. Note this down. All right, so when would you, are you available this week? Do we need to hold on till next Tuesday is the next day I can, if we can't meet like Wednesday afternoon, it's gonna be until next Tuesday.
Well, let me ask you, because I saw some financial information in here too. I mean, is the financials just to say that they are financially strong enough to go ahead and provide the services, or?
And yeah, and that was just part of the RFP that was written in
Okay.
there. So, and you guys, please read through all of that and be able to ask questions. What I need you to focus on is the projects.
Looking at the paperwork here, I prefer to meet a week from now. Wednesday is just,
It's a lot to read, in a
Yeah.
day and a
Yes.
half.
Absolutely.
We have other,
yeah.
yeah, so,
And I just got back from Arizona.
Oh, now look, so you're all rested up.
No
Rick,
weather, I
really?
mean, I'm all dark and stuff, so.
We were wondering how much sun you saw.
Lucky guy. Oh, my
No,
gosh.
but I got like 50 messages I'm waiting for.
I know
I thought
about
that all that
All
was
right.
supposed to be taken care of while you were gone.
Looks like Tuesday?
Is that Tuesday?
is that
Would be better.
fast enough for you guys? That meets your
Or
deadlines?
If you guys wanted to, I mean, you guys can still meet on Wednesday and talk about it some more and then have the meeting on Tuesday.
I need to read.
Okay. All right,
Well,
so,
for me,
and I think it was
I don't have time tomorrow.
all day Tuesday was available. I'm pretty sure she
Let
said.
me go look right this.
See, and most of these guys are gonna be our budget hearings tomorrow, so they're not gonna have any time too much.
I know it tomorrow,
Just say, no.
No, no, you cannot. No. I need to practice that.
Yeah, no.
Read my lips, no. I'm thinking there are gonna be just pages we focus on instead of all the information in the middle like she
yeah.
was talking about.
I'm hoping that there's a section that says projects and you can just drill down into those and,
A lot of this front part's just meeting insurance requirements and blah, 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 blah.
and, yeah.
And you're gonna, so we don't have to evaluate your insurance.
Nope,
requirements or
no,
any
they
of
just
that.
have to
It's just
prove
the
up to
projects.
us. I'm
So
sorry.
it's open all day Tuesday.
Okay, folks, all day next Tuesday, we'll be coming off, some of you will be coming off a rather long weekend.
Was that Memorial Day weekend?
It's Memorial Day weekend.
I'm available in the morning. or
Okay.
anytime before 2.
Okay, let's get some other, I'm more than happy to do it in the morning. And the date was the 30th. At 8:30, 9 o'clock, what works best for time wise?
I'm open.
9,
sooner the better.
8? We good for 8? They all down for 8? You okay for 8?
Mhm.
At 8 o'clock, we'll do it here in the courtroom. I will make sure to invite both I'll invite the applicants so they can ask questions. I will get the summary and the amounts out to you. And if not today, definitely tomorrow. This is actually my Sunday. So, and that's fine. We don't have a problem with that. If you have questions, jot them down. You may talk amongst yourselves. Please don't reach out to the subrecipients unless we have them sitting here for everybody to hear,
Yeah.
please. Okay. Other questions, concerns? And I want you to be brutally honest. If what you see is not meeting our needs or did not meet the intent of the RFP, you need to tell me that. And I
don't think they've seen our,
We have.
so that might be something you want.
I can just ship you out the RFP too. Absolutely. It's only another 80 pages. And like everybody laughed and notice there's no smile here. It truly is 80 pages.
Oh, no, I believe you.
I want you to know the county commissioner sold this as a slam dunk thing.
Ooh. So this work group, and I think all of you actually, except maybe Rick and Christina, sat on the TAC. So you'll meet a couple other times this year and just review what's going on. I mean, everybody's invited. Rick can come back too. But you guys will be carrying this forward into the TAC group, and the commissioner did decide to do the work group instead of having to retrain an entire new board.
Mhm.
And that's what it would have been. So this is actually a pretty good way to do it, I think. I'm happy. And it'd be a slam dunk. Look at all the reading. You can sit out in the sunshine, Dean,
Yeah.
put your feet up, cold water in your hand, iced tea.
Rick must not have the rigorous kind of job that I do on the side, you know. He must be pretty, easy kind of a job to do if that's the case.
No,
I know it's not.
no. I'm up to 1,626 veterans.
Oh,
Well, the word's
wow.
getting
Oh, my
out.
Oh, yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, the
Love
word,
it, love it.
that's
That's my
the
name.
word's getting out.
Yeah, I can say enough
It's
about it, what we do here.
best kept secret and for the veterans, you know.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
When will the veterans housing be ready?
Oh, wow, the veteran village,
Uh-huh.
you know what, I can say another year. I mean, they're just pouring concrete. There's a lot of work there. Gus, the main guy that's building this place out of LeGrand, you know, we talked about it. Well, the spring this year was supposed to be up and running, but now, of course. And he seems to be trying to do everything by himself with minimum support from other entities. And so it's a lot of work.
But it is moving forward.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
So,
good.
as long as that's happening.
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
When we come back together, if there's specific things you see are lacking in the projects, let us know. So we can sit down, talk about it as a group, and if we do have leftover funds, maybe we can solicit a subrecipient for that. Sherry, do you guys offer client-only transportation, or no, or yes? Or
Well, they can get medical transportation through Gobi. The process is not quick or easy always.
Mhm.
So maybe we can look at some of that too.
Okay. And Megan, we talked a little bit earlier. Is there something you can think about that might make it easier for your clientele to get to and from the clinic? Something like, I just,
I mean, community connections comes
Right.
right too.
Yeah. Yeah.
just maybe better publication on when that bus is coming around or something?
Yes. I feel like sometimes we communicate as much as possible, and people still don't.
I know,
Sometimes, yeah, but yes, I think that we do not have that necessarily at the department, so that would be something that could be beneficial to
And
know.
And I understand the communication
Yeah.
thing. I have signs all over the park and people still disregard. I don't know if they can't read or they just don't care. I get it.
Yeah.
So do we have actual, bus stops or whatever? Are
They
they?
do have actual places. We don't have bus stops, and I don't see those happening in the future. Those require permitting that is,
So do you have to call
arduous.
to get picked up or how?
you
is
can
that?
call to be picked up. That's a demand response
Uh-huh.
service. And so that is something that they provide, and I think they have it, like, let us know 24 hours in advance or something.
So there is no designated spots for the
There-
bus to actually stop?
Well,
at?
there are on their fixed route, on the trolley route, so you have, we'll be at the corner at Safeway at 9 o'clock,
Is there a
and at
signage or
3
whatever?
o'clock. I
there?
don't think there is.
That would be really nice to have, because I don't think people recognize where those pickups sites are at.
Yeah, I think that we definitely could improve communication and stuff like this, we can put actually on our county site now too.
Is there, question? It fogged up.
Okay, if any of you think of a question, be aware, send it to me via email, and I will transfer it to everybody else in this room, so everybody gets the same answer and the same, sees the question.
So in the funding that is available, is there a way to take some of that funding and make it so that there are physical signage for people when, and what times those pickups are?
So we have administrative funds that come to the county. This generally has been just to pay for my time and all of that. Let me look at what I put in for the reserve funds, because that might be something we could request as a side project just from TAC and put it under the QE to get done, under us to get done. That's a good idea.
So what's
I
the-
like it.
What's the cost of ridership? What does it cost to ride the trolley?
So they're gonna tell you in that. I don't know,
Oh,
but they have to
you
tell
know what it
us.
is now?
I don't, and it seems to change because cost of fuel and whatnot changed.
Mhm.
And I think even there was a certain amount this year they stopped doing one of the services, and I believe it was the senior and disabled non-emergency. That's Community Connections quit doing it because they said they ran out of funds.
So how do you pay? Is it with cash or is it with debit card? Does anybody know that?
I don't know that. I know all I can say is for the taxi, for the workforce on demand, the person buys a punch card
And they talk about it.
and then they get it punched. So that's a direct transaction with the taxi with the punch card
So
I-
they prepay for
Correct.
a bus pass or
Mhm.
taxi pass.
for
or
the
whatever.
taxi pass, yeah. But I don't know how they pay for community connections. I see their reports and the reports say mileage and a line for ridership. So how many riders and how many service hours? How many hours was that vehicle in service?
So we're subsidizing the vendor because they're receiving funds from the rider. So this
Correct.
other money that is available is for subsidizing the actual transportation availability or,
So the way you're looking at it, we are subsidizing the vendors.
okay,
So for example, you may see in here that Community Connections will be asking for a zero fare. So people can get on for nothing and they want us to pick up that balance.
Okay.
So we would be subsidizing the riders on that. Right now we subsidize for $1. So the person has to pay $1 and we give them whatever that 9, 8, 9, 10, whatever dollar amount it is on the other end.
Okay.
Did that help?
yeah, it does. I
Okay.
mean, I was just trying to figure out how that all works together.
And so with the taxi, they know it costs X amount. You buy a tag for this amount, $20 or whatever this punch card is, and we pick up the difference.
Now, is anyone in the community in Baker County capable of buying that, or is that, low to moderate income families
For which, for the,
for just ridership?
I think anyone.
Okay.
Anyone's available, anyone can write Community Connections. I don't know how they break down or how they decide riders, except for the senior and the disabled. Those are those are very strict. Those requirements are strict. It's just right on the money. But I don't think if, just Susie off the street wants to go for a ride, I don't think that they keep track of any difference there. Other questions?
For example, like a National Guard soldier, most likely would not qualify for transportation that Tara provides. Unless they can confirm that that person was active duty. Do we have a DD 214? Is it what kind of type of separation, honorable, other than honorable due to misconduct, that we won't qualify. So they're very, is the criteria is pretty strict.
Mhm. And I think they take care of it there in the office.
Yeah.
So just for instance, let's just say I live on, what would that be? That would be the north or the southeast corner of Baker. And I work at Balin Manufacturing. And my hours of work are, let's say it's the swing shift. Do I have, I mean, is there availability of ridership during those periods of time?
There are, and that would fall, that's exactly what the workforce on demand through the taxi service has been doing. Is with that punch card, you get picked up at your house, you get dropped off at work, and they'll come pick you up at work at a certain time and drop you off at your home. You can't stop anywhere else. You can't stop and get a beer at Charlie's or whatever. So it's really, that one is really strict. It's
But they don't have any requirements on you have to be low income. to do
no
that. I mean,
income, no requirements at all.
and
Well,
that
and I
is
was
a
just looking
requirement.
at it as if you had a DUI or something like that and you needed transportation and
Well,
that's where you live, why that'd be a tough scenario, that's a
So-
long walk.
it does help employment in Baker because of that. And we actually have, like McDonald's buys a packet of these cards because if Joe calls in and says, I can't make it to work because I don't have a ride, they're like, oh, guess what? They'll be there in 10 minutes. And then they call the taxi to go pick up Joe and get their card punched.
Mhm.
So it really,
So
that
McDonald's actually
particular
does
program,
pay for those.
they do as part of, and I'm not so sure the Balin or some of those out there do too, as part of the employee package. If you don't have a ride, I'm gonna offer you this card until you get one.
Okay.
It has really been an
So it
outstanding.
Looks
program.
like it cost you about $12 a day, $6 there and $6 home.
Unless you're on this program where,
Oh, yeah. I just mean on this proposal
Mhm,
with the taxi,
mhm.
so. I mean, that cost you some money.
Yeah.
So, good questions. And like I said, if you have other questions, just let me know as you start reviewing them. Remember
But
to
But
pick
if
with
it's
them.
workforce on demand though, if you look at that, Sherry, it says $6 per ride with a $2 match per ride. So does that mean that it costs $6 per ride and it costs the person that's riding only $2?
It, correct.
Or,
Well, or
Or
it
is there
costs
a fourth?
$8 and we pick up 6.
Oh, you're gonna pay 6, so the
Well,
person only pays 2.
Will,
Oh, yeah,
we will pick
Okay.
up 6 and the rider picks
Okay.
up 2.
that's totally affordable.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
$2 a ride's a lot, there's affordable.
Maybe they should sell that to the businesses.
That's why
You know what I
McDonald's
mean?
loves it probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, market it to the.
Yeah,
And I think marketing is something that's been lax
Mm-hmm.
across the board for this entire, from the beginning. Several,
Because that's why we don't know when the trolley runs or where it runs or
Mhm.
who can get on to cross. or need that.
I'm thinking bicycles, police bicycles are picked up and they don't, and give them to Balin and to, Marvin's, and it's just their transportation back and forth to work and live in the city,
okay.
I'm,
All righty, well, no decisions are made. We'll make the decision next time on Tuesday. Be in contact with me even when I'm not in the courthouse. I'm out at the parks. I still have my email. And so even on weekends, so we're good to go there. So just as you read through stuff, let me know and I'll kick it out to everybody.
I was out there at Hewitt Park the other day.
I saw
with
your
my
name on
boat.
an envelope.
You did? Well, good. It was my son-in-law that actually put that on there, but we didn't do very well fishing, but I have to say that the park is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's a well-kept secret.
Isn't it?
But
Yeah.
you guys have done a lot of work out
We
there as
have
far as
done
the
a lot of
grassy
work.
parts and the center and the other thing that we were missing and the sheriff was out there checking everybody that day and we didn't have the right vest for the kids because we had 2 kids that were, and he said, oh, go down there and at the end of the docks on the other end and they have some that they let you borrow. So we were able to go out on the boat anyway. So
Life jackets.
yeah, like
We got our first time in 50 years, we've had loaner life vest kiosks at the park. We have 3 of them. And they're being very well used. The life vests were donated by Nautical Safety Limited. So brand new this year. And then we just built the buildings and kiosks around them.
Well, it was a savior issue for us and that we didn't have the right life vest for them.
Thank you for letting me know that. We're done, folks. Thank you. Look forward to meeting with you
Okay.
next Tuesday.
Summary and dollar amounts. Just
Will be coming your
maybe
way.
By the end of the day. or-
I hope so. Well, look, I need to print it out so I see what I'm working on here.
How's your project coming along?